why do I think that I can influence you? Why can I think that that is? But the reason why, the reason why I feel like I can do this is I don't know what it is throughout my life, but somehow, somehow people listen to me. I have given advice to people 25 years ago when I was just a kid, and they live their life by the advice I gave them. They come back later in life, and you have to understand this is not something that I was expecting or anything like that. I talk, I talk. I'm just being, I'm me all the time. If you've been around me, or if you've ever been my friends, or if you're close to me, then you understand is that Matt's Matt all the time. There's nothing you can do about it because I'm not the friend that lets you get away with it. You understand what I'm saying? Is because this is how my wife explains why people are so um, drawn to me. The reason why she says is because I make you feel important. I make people feel important. I make people feel seen because, and it's not something I'm trying to do. It's not an act. It's not something like that. But I was thinking the other day because I don't know if you've been watching for a while. I got some eyes that are crazy. They're crazy blue eyes. I can't see them. To me, they look just like everybody else's. Sometimes I'll see it in a picture and I'll be like, oh shit, I know what you're talking about. But I recently found God, and we'll talk about that at one point and all that stuff. But I didn't find it at my low. I found him at my high. I found him at my high, and I got a different perspective on that than most, I would say. And I think that mine's a healthier perspective for a man that's found God later in life. I was raised religious and all that stuff with Christianity and everything with my family, but I was always a skeptic. I've always believed in dinosaurs and all that stuff. So there was that in my life because I feel that I try to logically go through things opposed to emotionally. Obviously, your emotions are what drives you. That's how you make decisions, even though you think you're doing it with just logic. You use the logic, but it's your emotions that allows you to share your logic. You know, I know I do. I do a lot of research on things. You guys, it's gonna be annoying. The more you're gonna get to know me, because when I find it out, I'm gonna tell you guys about it. Or if I something that's already been working for me, and sometimes I'll do something for 6 months just to make sure that it's working for me. And when it works for me, then I'll tell you guys about it. Or if I run into something like that NAD drip, I'm planning on doing that this year. I want to see because they tell you how like it's so painful. It takes a couple hours, but what it does is it repairs your DNA. Kind of your innards, and it reverses their aging. You guys have to do your own research. Like I said, I'm not a professional at anything. What I do is what I am is one of those people when I'm talking to you and we're talking about the same thing, and I find out you know more about that thing than I do, get ready for a long conversation. Just get ready for me to pick your brain. But get ready for me to know exactly what you know by the end of this conversation. And it's just I'm inquisitive. Just one of those people that needs to find out. And when I try to find out, I can't help it. I mean, if I find out something great, I find out something like anything great, I try to tell everybody about it. And I don't do it in a braggadocious way, like, hey, guess what I got? I say, hey guys, guess what? This works. This thing is amazing. Let's do this, blah, 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 blah. And here's the thing is I know who to say things to, you know. What I was gonna talk about the blue eyes, sorry, I jump around. If you've been listening to me by now, you understand. I'm all over topics because my brain is always moving a mile a minute. I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but I have a problem sometimes with my brain thinking it finished the task and I'm already moving on to the next. So I have to, slow down. I'm one of those people that I have to slow down and breathe. And that's something that you have to teach yourself. It's 100% something you have to teach yourself. And every day I try to get better. There's a lot of things that I still fail at. There's a lot of things that, I'm not happy with the way I react to certain things. I'm not happy that some of my old habits keep falling back here and there, but you have to understand sometimes you don't realize your habits. Sometimes you're in the middle of something and you're like, oh my god. But every time that you snap out of those habits, or if you're in the middle of the habit, and every time I want you to notice, I want you to step back from this thing and say, how do I stop this? What do I got to do in order to change this habit? What about me? Like, what do I have to focus on the most? Or, what do I need to do? And so that's kind of how I do on my daily basis is I try to find a way to get a little better every day. And that's not just the fitness. Obviously I go to the gym every day, I eat my diet right and all that stuff. But that's to me, that right there is, everybody wants to I want to talk about this too. I know you guys, I jump around and I'm on this topic. I still wanted to talk about the blue eye topic is what I'm talking about is that when I'm talking to people, so I'm going back there and jumping around, blah, blah, blah. But when I'm talking to people, I feel like I see your soul. I don't see your face. I don't see, what you're trying to project at me. I don't see that you're trying to be cool. I don't see that. What I do see is how you really feel on the inside. So no matter what you say to me, I'm not going to react to it because I'm not reacting to it because of how it makes me feel. I'm listening to how you feel. I'm listening to, if even if you're insulting me or something along the lines like that, doesn't happen a lot. So I got a lot of smiles on my face. But if that does happen, I listen to the insult because most of the time that's how they feel about themselves. So if you can think about that and you don't feel that way about yourself, and that's through the fitness and all that stuff and showing up for yourself, then you build some armor. You build this something inside of you starts to care about what you think opposed to what they think. You understand what I'm saying? There's something inside of you that cracks when you start to show up, when you start doing the things that you said you're going to do, when you start keeping promises to yourself, when you say out loud, I'm going to lose weight and you lose weight. How many times have you said it? How many times you said you're going to go on, or I need to go on a diet, or I need to work out, I need to start, I need to start, I need to start. How many times have you done that? And how many times have you started and got, in decent shape? Life got in the way, all of our excuses. And then you went right back to the same, maybe even gained some more. And then you do it again. And then you try it again. Now and the problem is you know how long the one time took you and you don't want to wait that long. So now you're taking diet pills. And now you're taking that Ozempic stuff. And you guys really better do some research. There's some stuff coming out now that, it's doing some damage, and you guys gotta understand, and when you lose weight that way, when you take the shortcut, and I understand if some people have to, especially with the diabetics, it's huge for, leveling out your blood sugar and stuff like that, but the problem is the doses they give you will you're trying to get lost that weight yesterday, and when they give you that, it starts to destroy a lot of things. I've had friends that have had their gallbladder removed, 3 that are because of this semaglutides. So just if you want to understand and you really, really want to earn that self-respect and all of that goes along with losing weight and sticking to it and staying in fitness and making yourself better, because this is more than fitness for me. And if you start to do that, you start to care about your opinion of yourself because it's a good opinion. Because you're keeping the promises to yourself. You're doing the things that you said. There's like this little thing in your head. There's a meter that sits in the middle, right? It starts in the middle. And then the more that you say something and you don't do it, your meter comes over here. And then that's when you start hearing, I call it the bitch brain. You start to hear that more. That one's way louder when you're over here not keeping promises to yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So, but if you're over here and you start to keep promises to yourself and you start to go over here and you start to hear, and then you start to hear the supportive part of your brain. You get to hear the side that tells you when somebody's looking at you, it tells you you look great. That's why they're looking at you. Not that side of your head that says, "Oh shit, do I have something on my head? What's wrong with my hair? Oh man, I shouldn't have dressed like this today." That is the bitch side of your brain. That's the side of your brain that's always keeping you down, keeping you average, keeping you below, keeping you in the depression and the anxiety and all that stuff. But when you start to feel good about yourself and you're on this side, this brain over here, this one over here is your biggest fan. That's if you're not a God believer or anything like that, I believe that this version over here, that one that's having this conversation, that's the best version of you, calling to you, telling you, please, please, you just got to work hard. You have to show up. You have to do these things to become over here. And over here, that's where the good stuff is. Over here is that self-respect, that confidence, not that fake confidence, that confidence that just you walk in a room and you're glowing. You're glowing because you're here to help. I feel good about myself and how do I help you? If you want to bring your mean at me, that's fine. That's fine. If that helps your day, that's fine. I'm not taking that in. I'm staying all happy in love over here. You keep that to you. I mean, I've learned this lesson. I've learned the lesson of the fact is every attack is that's on them. That's on them. I didn't do it because I know that I didn't have any intentions to cause any of these problems along the way, you know? And that's another thing I have to talk about is the fact that being offended by something somebody says. I got to tell you, sometimes, you know, I say things. I'm the friend that'll tell you exactly what I think. And I don't try to do it in a mean way, but I tell it in the way that you have already talked to me. Because I told you, when I talk to a person, I talk to a person and I learn you. And when I learn you, is I learn your goals, what you want to be, the things that you want to achieve, opposed to, when you have a conversation with somebody else, I know it's different. I know you don't tell them the same thing you tell me because what we're talking about is the best version of you. And when you tell me about that, I'm going to hold you to that. I'm not going to pester you about it. I'm going to bring it up to you. I'll bring it up to you because I know that. Because here's the thing, when you're in the middle of being like you're fucking motivated and you're ready and you're doing all that stuff, you hear what I'm saying when I talk about motivation. I talk about showing up. I talk about that. You hear those things when you're in that mode and it fires you up. It's like, hell yeah, let's do this. But when you fall into that other mode, you know, that mode where last week I was working out, but this week, you know what, I'm going to take a break. And, you know, I got this and what else? Oh, I got to work a lot this week. I got this. So I can't do that. Right. You feel you I just lost my train of thought. It's just something that you guys are gonna you have to run into too. Like I literally completely forgot that whole train of thought. Huh, that's crazy. But you guys gotta understand, come with me. Come with me on this thing. Because I'm doing this with you. Everything I tell you, I'm doing myself. I'm not one of those, the word influencer really drives me crazy. It really does. Because I don't see any, I'm not, I guess we're influencing each other. You know, I watch all the videos of the people that are inspiring me. You know, I get to watch the story. And when I look at your story and I start to watch, I'll go back and I'll try to figure this out and see how far you've come or when you started to document your journey and all those things because I'm proud of you. I love watching people win. That is my favorite thing in the whole wide world is watching people win. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I get out of this. You know, I don't make any money. Obviously, what I have like 300 follower or subscribers on YouTube. And, you know, I got like 6,500 on TikTok. But you know how many of that's real? But those people, I'll tell you what, I have some of them people I consider almost friends at this point. If we knew each other in real life, I guarantee we'd be friends. You know, and I talk to you guys, man, and I love having you guys got to understand I'm a real person. You know, there's no pretend here. You see me out in public, then please say hi to me. Not that anybody will notice me. I do stand out in the crowd though. It's because of this. If I influence you in any way, shape, or form, please let me know because that's my payment. My payment is seeing your success, seeing your, and if I had something to do with it, tell you what, I tell you what, I smile already, and I'll that smile will be big, and I'll smile later, and I'll smile the next day because I love hearing your story. I love seeing you succeed. It's good stuff. It's good stuff, man. And if you ever meet me in person, this is who I am every single day, all the time. Of course, I have my moments of, maybe I'm not jubilant and fucking, all over the place. But in those moments, it seems that other people pick me up. They see my smile, but it's not, that fool smile. And people come over and say something. And it's crazy. It's crazy how many strangers talk to me first. I know that I talk to a lot of strangers, but I do appreciate it. And I love talking to you. And if you say hi to me, you're probably going to get longer than a hello conversation because I'm just not that person when everybody says my day is good. Unless I can read it on your face that you don't want to. Then go on with your day. Just want you to know people out there care about you and they want you to succeed. So if you're having a hard day, get past it. Get past, don't let it define you. Don't let it ruin the rest of you. Have a bad moment. If you can just change it down to a bad moment and then just look to all the things you're grateful for, all the things that you do have. In every moment that you feel sad and you feel like you don't have and you don't have, I want you to think about all the things you do have. I mean, it works for me. And I know that people say I can't and I can't, but you have to realize when you say I can't, all I hear you say is I won't. I won't. It's not I can't. You guys have a wonderful day. Just wanted to check in a little bit. I know it's been a while. I'm trying to get more into this part, but I do. I have a real job just like you. I have work. I have to go. I have to pay my bills. I have to figure my shit out. I have to get my kids cars, and help them with that crap and insurance. And so my life is just like yours. I got the same stress as you. I got the same, I don't know every day. I got the same, like, am I going to make it every day? But the thing is because of the health and showing up and the fitness and everything, it's no longer really a question. Now it's, we're going to get it done. Maybe we don't know the exact path to get it done, but we're going to get it done because we're going to put everything we have into it. So, and I recommend that for you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks for listening to me.